You might have noticed that last week there was no Technique Tuesday, and I did something really stupid. Especially since it was wholly unnecessary. For the low price of about $10, I could have avoided that cut, and to be honest, I'm lucky that it wasn't worse than it was. Today, I'm going to show you how to use a waiter's corkscrew or a double hinge corkscrew, or I've heard it also called a waiter's friend. I call it a wine service because as a server, this is what I use for wine service. But it can be used for much more than wine, and in fact, this is my preferred tool when I'm behind the bar. You can open a can of beer. You can open a bottle of beer. Or you can use it how its name suggests and open a bottle of wine. What I'll usually do, not every time, but usually before a busy Friday or Saturday night, I'll take my honing rod and just run the straight edge of this wine service of the foil cutter over the honing rod. And that just brings everything back to true. Any rolling that took place on that edge, it's gonna get the points of that serration just back to where I wanted it to be. And now I'm ready to cut foil. How they want me to do it is to take the middle of this ring here. That's what this little part right here is called, is the ring. And they want me to cut right in the middle of the ring. And I'll tell you right now, as somebody who's been doing this professionally for about 20 years, it's pretty difficult to do. A great compromise is to cut underneath the ring. You don't want to cut on top of the ring because you don't want this wine to come in contact with your cap, sleeve, I forget what this is called, with your foil. Sometimes these foils have lead in them, and that's just so they are able to heat shrink onto the neck of the bottle. So we are just going to take our foil cutter underneath the lip, make one cut back here, and one cut on this side, and then we can start to pry away at our foil. I didn't get very much on this side, so I'm going to make a cut on this side as well. Generally in restaurant wine service, you never want to turn the label away from the guest, but we're at home. I'm going to lift up on the foil, and this is not foil. This turns out to be plastic, and I'm to the cork. In a restaurant, this goes in my pocket. At home, you're not far from the garbage. Just go and throw it away. If it is foil, this could cut you. Just get it into the garbage. We put our foil cutter away and open up the wine service. Now, I like to go straight down into the middle of my cork, and I'm going to apply light pressure for 1 or 2 turns, and then the corkscrew is in there. So you should be able to just turn it gently and it'll go right in. And we want to stop when there is a full turn of the worm. That's what this is the worm. Sometimes I get messed up and I call it the snake. It all makes sense. And this is the beauty of the double hinge corkscrews. Now my first step is right here. I'm gonna press that in and come up. And the reason for that is that I'm not putting overdue stress on the cork, because now I can come back up. I can set this edge and come up. I usually stop right here and opt to take it out by hand rather than making the loud pop sound with the cork. It's a little bit more professional. You see a lot of people smelling corks. You can get a little bit of information that way, but usually you're gonna get a lot more information by pouring the wine and smelling and tasting the wine. You'll see people doing this a lot. All this does is gets the wine up onto the sides of the glass so it has a faster evaporation rate. And a faster evaporation rate means that you're gonna be able to smell a lot more. And that smells fine. What you're looking for is basement or mildew or old cardboard or newspaper, something that just smells off, something that smells like it's been sitting around for a while, old socks. When they give you the option to taste it in the restaurant, they're not offering you a taste to see if you like the wine. That's beside the point. You ordered it, they opened it, you're buying this wine now. What they're doing is to see if any damage has become the bottle in its storage, if any bacteria has leached through that cork. And in fact, we call a wine that suffers this fate a corked bottle of wine. And don't worry, none of this wine will go to waste. I'll probably have a glass just to see how it is and then make the rest into vinegar. If you haven't seen me make vinegar from wine, I'll link that video somewhere. So that's all well and good for the restaurant, for the proper service, but usually when I'm opening a bottle of wine, doing it at home, I'm among friends or family. So you remember how I said I wanted to get this away from my wine because it may contain lead? Usually I'll just do that. Set my worm into the cork. I get a few turns. And come up. Now for me, if you'll notice, I had my worm into the cork. There wasn't even a full turn left in there. To me, it's more important to get the leverage that I need. But what if I can't? What if this doesn't budge? And this, I can get it to turn a little bit, but it's not really cooperating with me. It's on there a little bit better. Well, then I'll use the foil cutter again. I'll come in and get that started. And then this goes in the trash. And some people have confronted me about using this very simple tool that can fit in your pocket and pretty much go anywhere with you except for into the airport. This is my preference, and I know that some things may be quicker, but I've gotten pretty good at using this. So let's just see how quickly I can open this bottle of wine from sitting. In my whole career, I've opened now only 2 bottles from sitting. So this is an experience for me, a little bit of a handicap maybe. All right, start the timer. Open. There are twist off caps, and it used to be sort of the lazy man's go-to, but now it's actually becoming more and more popular and more accepted in the wine world. This is sort of a middle of the road Coteron, and it has a screw cap. I'm not gonna open it because you don't need me to demonstrate opening a screw cap, but what I will demonstrate, Brut Cuvée California sparkling wine. Now, not all of them will come like this. Some of them will, and this is okay, we're not gonna use this screw cap. We'll use the one that I was actually saving for when I hit 50,000 subscribers, but what the hell, let's drink it now. So on most bottles of sparkling wine, there is going to be an edge to the foil here that you can peel up and around. And that one came apart on me, but that's okay. If that comes apart, we can just take the foil off of this cap. And now we come to this key right here. We're going to twist it. 1, with our finger over the top, very important. 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And then You can twist it a 1/6 if you want, but the 5 is really all that's necessary. And then I'm going to take my hand and wrap it around this cork, applying pressure to the cork and turning both the cork and the bottle. And once I'm holding it on right now, I'm holding this in place right now. Eventually you don't need to twist anymore because the air, the pressure inside of the bottle is going to push this cork right out. And that's why we see popping corks flying everywhere. All right, so now I'm to the, oh, I couldn't hold it anymore. But I do want to do the same thing that I've been doing with the cork, is to hold this and release the gas slowly. And generally, if the wine makes a noise, if it's sparkling, nothing's gone wrong in the bottle. We can, of course, check. And that smells just fine. I forgot I was going to give you an example of stressing the cork and why the double hinge corkscrew is so superior to the single hinge. With the single corkscrew, you will just have the one step down here and it will not have this hinge. So I will attempt to open this Pinot Noir with just the one step. So as you can see, I have the worm into the bottle the appropriate length, but my first step doesn't catch. So I have to actually back this out, causing less torque and a more centralized area of pressure on this cork. So it's more likely to break, it's more likely to bend, and just overall be harder to get out of the bottle. So if I'm already down here and I have to come up, just watch the cork, just watch how it bends. All right, you see that there? That's how you break a cork. And if I go any further, okay, this one's not gonna break on me, but you can see the amount of pressure that I'm putting on it one way, right? We can definitely stop there and take this out, but it's actually pretty far in there. This is a manufactured cork. It's cork that's been glued together, but if this was a solid piece, one piece of cork, this definitely would have broke. So you can see how using the double hinge, leverage is on our side, and we don't need to go fancy with it. I have one here from a winery that looks very nice. It feels very nice. It's a little bit more clunky to use, and the beer opener is on this part here, and it does not have a beer can opener. You could probably use this to get the can started for you. The foil cutter is a little bit more reliable, but it's also a little bit more scary and kind of harder to take out. I really do prefer just the very fast, simple, easy to replace dispensable, because in the restaurant you're always losing these. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you can know whenever I'm on here and you can stay up to date with the latest in the self-serving skillet universe. If you missed the video where I make wine into vinegar, I'm gonna put that right up here. And if you're curious about some sparkling wines, I make a few sparkling wine cocktails, give you the breakdown on the difference between champagne and cava, prosecco, some that don't fit any of those bills. That's going right here.
You run into the most issues when you're forcing a knife to do something that it doesn't really want to do.